Hey gang, we are back again at Mount Carmel Cemetery here today next to the Salvo family, the famous monument that rotates. We've looked at this before on a very wintry day, coming in with little Jimmy the drone. I'll put the reference up here if you want to go back and look at that. We're going to go a little deeper today into this section and look at some really interesting monuments and some beautiful pictures, resulting in some intriguing stories just from looking at the dates. I've scouted it out. Can't wait to take you back there. So let's take a walk and see what we can find. And we'll just start out by again looking at this fabulous piece of marble. Can you imagine? This was all cut from one piece of stone for this family. The father and the mother, and they're all here together for eternity. Well, as long as this marble holds up, as it is melting away slowly but surely. But some amazing details. Look at this fan, the book, just some amazing details here. You can just stare at this for a long time. They almost do come alive, don't they? Let's move on. We also did look at the DeVito family, the busts, quite dramatic. But let's move up to the north. And let's start with Mildred Catino. This looks like a First Communion, maybe. Which often this was the only picture they had. Cameras weren't as readily available. Well, they were, but they were, pictures were expensive. 1898, she died in July. Last day of July, 1925. Sadly, her mom's picture is gone. Francesca passed, it looks like 7 years later. Just look around. We could spend hours here. I mean, maybe we'll get over there. I'm kind of headed to the north, but just look at this. Look at all the pictures. This might be the last time I'm here, at least for a long time, because I am moving to Arizona. I will be back to Chicago in the summers occasionally. Look at this picture. Now there is an intense look, if I've ever seen one. Giovanni passed in 1925. It looks like November 1880, 1925, so 45 years old, depending on the months there. Madalena. There's a child. Now this looks recent. Child's was only 1 year old back in '93. Matthew Allen. Now this really stands out because all of these graves here, all these monuments are from the early 1900s at the latest. Let's backtrack a little here to Francesco. The mustache you can see from afar. Look at the collar. Dark suit, handsome man. 1871 to 1925, and there's the rest of the family, including baby Minnie. $1925. Let's continue on. Many stories, many stories here at the cemetery. Sometimes you look at the dates of the different family members and it tells you the story. Many times they died within months or days. At the same time, look at this. Catherine and Joseph, a happy couple. Imagine all the times they had together and the ups and downs, mostly the ups it looks like. It looks like they had a very happy life, a very happy marriage. You can only wonder what the stories are, where they went, what they did. Let's look at this one now. Look at it here again, the pictures. 2 or 3 pictures gone, sadly. Giovanni and Clara. But Anna is here. She passed in 1938. Almost a smile. Again, in these days, actually before the older pictures even, or late 1800s, they were not smiling. People say, why were they so grim? Why were they not smiling like we smile? Were they having such a bad life? No, it was because the cameras at the time had 5-minute exposure time. Some of them, daguerreotypes, 15 minutes. How do you hold a smile for 15 minutes like this and not look like a stupid monkey? Anyway, it was also considered disrespectful to smile back then for a camera. I mean, the camera was all new. No selfies. Here's some children and a young man. Katerina. Beautiful. It's baby Angelo here, I believe, 1922 to 1924. So sad. Those are the years of all those diseases, right? Angelo and Katerina. So Angelo died in 1924, and 2 years later they had Katerina, and then she only made it to 2 years old also. And I'm, figuratively speaking, and here's Peter. So he was born in 1924, the same year that Angelo died. Angelo, I think, died is that December? Italian? And Peter was born in April, so he was born right before. If that's December for Angelo, then Peter was born, and several months later, Angelo dies. Boy, oh boy. How do you handle that? 3 kids. Well, you have the first 2 kids that die as babies, both as 2-year-olds. Like, what's the bad luck with that? And then you're like, my last son, he's living until his 20s, and then he dies. How do you even, I don't know how you can deal with that. How do you go on living? Well, as I've said before, you have more kids and you keep thriving. Immigrants. Many of these people are immigrants. Here's another Angelo, 1891 to 1909. So about 18 years old, April to February. No, he didn't even May. I think if I got my dates right, he's 17 when he passed away. Very handsome. So sad. Mother. Rosalia. So 1897 to 1931. That may be 1890. Oh, you have to be a sister, right? Yeah, 1877. This has to be the mother, I believe. Not sure. But just based on those dates. Here's a very distinguished man. Look at that picture. And these pictures just hold up just amazing. I was talking to Frank Troost last week. We got a couple stones working over there with Frank for the unknown stranger and for Francis Alexander, the Gacy victim that was identified. We're buying him a stone. Thanks, guys, by the way, all that Patreon and all the contributions for that, all of that. It's another little boy, passed in 1925, Rocco. Look at the book he's holding. Try to get in on his face. That's about as close as I can get. (1914 and 1925), and then Cristoforo, looks like 1889, 1924. Nice suit. And Rose 1890 to 1965. So I am guessing that the mother and the father died young, very young. Of course, he died, it looks like, a year before his son died, Rocco, and mom died many years later. So that's what I mean. The stories, you can kind of piece together what happened. Now there's a row of mausoleums here that are very intriguing. We might come back and take a look at, but probably not today. That's an episode on its own. It's another interesting picture. The man in the chair, passed in 1929. Well, where do we go from here? I see two more children. Boy, every time I turn around, I see more kids passed away. Two babies, looks like. One in 1928. That's Leroy, and Pauline passed in 1929. So sad. This is Pauline Joy, April 8th, 1929 to December 13th, 1929. It's around 6 months, right? And Mom Rosa. Not a great clarity resolution, but at least there's an image of her. 1926, looks like. 1926, yeah, and I think she was 98 years old, right? All right, let's go this way. Let's go this way and see who we can find. Now, Frank told me, Frank Troost, that sometimes when you see damage to these stones, it's not always the lawnmower. There is some vandalism. And I remember seeing one here, literally had a bullet hole or a bullet impression, sadly. Now here's a young man that passed in 1927, the Russo family. You can see here below Anthony F. Nadine and Dominic. But up here we have Joseph P. Russo. January 7th, 1909. He passed in October 27. Now, how did he die? But look at these pictures and look at these monuments. I mean, it's just amazing the money they spent. All of these. I mean, as you look across here, there are just tons of, I mean, this cemetery has the statuary art like almost no other place. It's sad when you see the pictures missing. Sometimes the families, you can come back, they do come back and replace these. if the family's still around here. Of course there's family, but you know, after the third generation, many times they don't come back. See another young man here, Antonio. He was born in 1901 and died in 1925. Vincenzo, the father, with the mustache. Look at that mustache. I like that, what he has. I wonder what that is here. What is that? And Antonio, I wonder again, how did Antonio die? What a handsome man. What a handsome man. It almost looks like a prom time picture. May have been at a wedding. I don't know. Very distinguished. Look at this picture of Marie. Look at that. That has to be 1920s, huh? So she was born in 1911. I'm guessing here she's in her 20s, so 1930s, right? Look at that. Philip. 1908, 1968. So it must be a brother and sister. She died young. Again, how did she die? He lived to be 60, Philip. But how did Marie die? Well, she probably died of old age, 1911, 1991. You know, it's funny I say that because I see the picture and she looks so young. It's like that's when she died. But many times, yeah, they'll not these days they do, but in those days they didn't do a lot of the older pictures. You know, when they were younger, they would do more the latest picture from when they died. Now here's a mustache. Look at that. Father Pasquale. Boy, does he have he had intense eyes, didn't he? 1880, 1923, so he lived to 43. So that picture is probably taken maybe a few years before he passed. Now look at this. This is really massive, distinctive. I remember seeing this, and I think there's an enclave in the front, a hollowed out. Yeah, this is the one. Fabro. Ardemia. August 10th, 1903, November 21st, 1922. Very young. Wow, 19 years old. Look at that picture. Isn't that striking? Just think how many decades this picture's been out in the elements, Chicago, in the rain and the snow. And it's like this was put here yesterday, at least the pictures. I've seen some of these where the picture is like that and the stone is all crumbled away. So August of 1903, yeah. Actually 19, so she made it to her 19th birthday and then passed in November. So this looks to be locked. And there's some flowers in there. It's just a little cavity for some flowers. Where should we go next? Again, I didn't look at all of these, but I did walk through where I said, we got to come here. This is Salvatore. December 9th, 1890, and he passed in August of 1926. And his wife, Giovanna. Passed in 72, but again, another striking picture. The carnation, or maybe a small rose on his lapel, and sadly, this was probably her picture here. Gone. Gone. Let's go this way. Let's go this way. It's a 25-year-old mother, Carolina. May 1900, she passed in May of 1925. Wonder what happened. Probably disease. Probably disease. Gone forever and not forgotten. Antoinetta. Oh, look at this picture. Look at this picture, will you? That is amazing. Look at the hair and the fig branches like Caesar, and the big bouquet of roses. Imagine what that looked like in color standing there when they took that picture. It was probably just brilliant colors. Her dress, what do you think her dress color was? A chiffon, rose colored? We won't know. But here is a woman who we do know was in a fur, and that's Mary. Born January 8th, 1902. She passed young also, June 12th, 1929. And she's wearing a big fur, it looks like, right? That certainly looks like the Roaring 20s. Not a flapper, but some more over here. Pulling me this way by this beautiful tree. Lucia, 1906 to 1928. A boy, Antonio. Mother and father and young son. So father, 1869 to 1917, Salvatore. Now, if that doesn't look like a working Italian immigrant, what a great picture. And then Grace, 1872 to 1938. So the mother. And the son, Antonio, 1911 to 1924. Oh, very sad. A great picture of him in his little suit, his arm on a Looks like a table. What is the story, you just wonder? Sad. Very sad. Die so young. I'm always gravitated to the kids as I walk. If I see a child like here, Emilio. So Emilio was a girl's name also. Father Antonio. I have to tell you, Omar Sharif, right? What a handsome guy. Look at those eyes. Adelina. Oh, this is really sad. So 1930. So Dad, 1884, let's say 15, I'm gonna say he was around 44 years old, 45 when, oh, that's a boy. Yeah, Emilio. So I'm coming closer and I can see that as a boy. Again, what happened? What happened? Only the angel knows. Only the angel knows. Well, I wanted to go this way. So let's get back to going this way. I've got a few across the road I'd like to see. Again, here's some children. Boy, oh boy. Michelle, 1915, died the same year. And Giovanni, 1911 to 1917. Carolina, 1893 to 1925, so again, all very young. Yeah, like I say, I don't know. Sadly, I don't know if I'll ever be back here. This might be my last Mount Carmel visit. I've got a playlist of, gosh, it has to be 22, 23 episodes here. But that one of the Salvo family in the winter and the Salerno boys, you got to check that one out. All right, just a few more here. Just a few more here. It's this little spot on the corner of this section. In memory of Antonia. 1920, she was 58 years old. And look at the gold trim. Look at that. It's beautiful. let's look over here. There are a few more. Just a few more, guys. Look at this picture. That's calling me over. A big oval porcelain of either a bridal or a communion. It looks bridal. Mary, she was born in 1890, passed in 1918, yeah. Held up pretty good for over 100 years sitting out here. Just amazes me. Giuseppe Blasi and Filomena are here. He passed in 1919 at the age of 47. Looks like. Handsome, full head of hair. Filomena, I'm guessing, was his wife, because she's 1875, 1965, 90. Oh, that's sad, and more children. But I see, let me look at this one first. It's a very interesting picture calling me over. Looks like a movie star from like Bonanza or something, right? Robert and Victor. Oh, many. They all died fairly, well, Margarita died fairly young, 1882, 1926. Not, you know, middle age, I guess you'd say. And Victor passed 1930, 1911, so yeah, he was pretty young. 1911 to 1930. Pretty young, being around 19 years old, depending on the month. Or I should say, yeah, right? But look at Robert with that crew cut. That is the definition of a crew cut. Right? 1960s, maybe 1950s. So 1938 he was born. He's probably in his 20s there. So late 50s, maybe early 60s, you'd have to figure. Right? Here's a baby over here. Look at the old stone. This is what I'm talking about, where the picture is outlasting the stone. The stone is almost unreadable for Rosa. 1917 to 1918. Is that a post-mortem? Questionable. What do you guys think? I don't think so, but that's could be post-mortem. You have to look at the eyes where they painted on. What they would do is they would actually paint the eyes on the photograph. They're meticulous artists. Back then, oh, here's two kids and a handsome man. I think we'll close it out here. Giovanni. So let's look here at the stone. We have Giovanni Marabelli. You know, I can't tell. It's just, I guess he was 19 years old, February 1921, or no, I see 49. Kind of hard to figure out. Maybe you guys can piece it together, but there are the babies, the children. So sad. All right, gang. That is going to close it out. So hopefully I get back here to Mount Carmel sometime. Keep this going. But it's got to be my favorite cemetery because of the pictures, the ovals. All right. See you later.